All right, when we're dividing polynomials like this, here we have a trinomial divided by a binomial. What we're gonna do is we are going to do long division, okay? You've probably heard of that before in the past. This is what you learned when you're younger. If you wanted to divide 5 into 100, you would set it up like this, and you would do long division, right? So you would say 5 can go into 10 2 times, right? Because 2 times 5 is 10. So 2 times 5 would give us 10, and then we would subtract it. So 10 minus 10 was 0. We would bring down a 0, and 5 can go into 0 0 times, okay? 0 times 5 is 0, right? So 20 was your answer, okay? This is what we're gonna do. Same idea, but with our polynomials, okay? So we're gonna set it up the same. I'm gonna put x plus 5 on the outside over here. And then we're dividing it into x squared plus 9x plus 20, okay? So I've gotta figure out how many times this can go into this one. But what we're gonna do is we're just gonna care about the first term for both, okay? We only care about how many times can x go into x squared, okay? Or what do you have to multiply x by to make it x squared, okay? So our trick would be if you take your leading terms, okay, and you divide those leading terms, meaning the first term for both set. We're going to take x squared and we're going to divide it just by x. Well, if you have x squared, that means you have 2 x's on top and 1 on bottom. The 1 on bottom would be able to cancel out one of the ones on top, leaving you just 1 x, right? So we'll put x here. So if we did this correctly, when I take x and I multiply it by this x, it should give me the number that we had here, okay, this leading term. So we're really kind of distributing. We're going to multiply. Okay, so our first step was to divide. Our second step is going to be to multiply. Okay, so we're doing x times x is x squared. We got the same thing, so we know we're doing it right. Kind of like here, 2 times 5 is 10. We got the same thing. We're doing it right. And then we have x times 5 is a 5x. Okay. Now we need to subtract, just like over here, we said minus, right? So we've got to be careful and remember we're subtracting both terms. So I'm going to change the sign on both, okay? So x squared minus x squared is 0, and then a 9x minus a 5x leaves us with a 4x, okay? And then from there, just like over here, we'd bring down the 0, right? So we're going to bring down our plus 20, and we're going to start over again, okay? All right, so here are your steps. Divide the leaders, which is what we did, okay? That gave us the number to put up here. You multiplied, so then we multiplied it by both of the outside numbers. We subtracted both of these, and then we brought down the next term. And then step 5 is just repeat until you can't really see it, but repeat until there are no more terms to bring down. So we brought down our last one. We're going to finish these steps, and then when it gets to bring down next term, there's nothing else to bring down. You're done. Okay? So let's look. Brought this down. Okay? So we're going to repeat. We're going to go back up to step 1, which is divide the leaders. Well, we canceled out this leader, right? And then we have a new leader, which is 4x. Okay? So I'm going to do 4x divided by x. Okay, so I'll come off to the side here. 4x divided by x, right? The x on top and the x on bottom would cancel each other out, leaving you just a 4, okay? So I'm going to put plus 4 up here because it's a positive 4. And then I'm going to multiply. So then I'm going to do the same thing with 4 that I did with x. So 4 times x gives me a 4x, which is good. We got the same thing. And then 4 times 5 is a positive 20. So then if we subtract both terms, We're changing the sign of both. 4x minus 4x is 0. 20 minus 20 is 0. Okay. We don't have anything else to bring down, so we're done. So this number on top, or these expression on top, x plus 4, that is your answer. And this is your remainder. If I had a number here, like 5, I would have a remainder of 5, right? I don't have a remainder, so my answer is just x plus 4. Okay. All right, this next one, we have a binomial divided by a binomial. However, I see that I'm missing a term here, right? Okay, you could do what you did yesterday and see what you could factor out. Okay, another thing you could do would be to do what we just did, right? But we're gonna put a placeholder here. When I say I'm missing a term, it means I go from x squared to no x's. I missed the just an x, right? So really we have 0 x's. We have 9x squared, 0 x's, and then a negative 4. So I'm gonna say 3x minus 2 divided into a 9x squared plus a 0x minus 4. The 0x is kind of just a placeholder, okay? It's keeping the place of your x column, okay? We didn't change anything. We're still saying we have 0 x's, right? So we'll start with step 1. Divide our leaders, okay? So here our leaders are 9x squared and a 3x. So I'm going to go off to the side, 9x squared divided by 3x, okay? You know 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then if you have 2 x's, that's what x squared means, and 1 would cancel out with one of them, leaving you just 1x. So we would get 3x. Okay. And then we're going to do step 2, which is to multiply. So 3x times 3x gives us a 9x squared, which is what we wanted. 3x times a negative 2 is a negative 6x. Then we're going to subtract. So I'm distributing that minus sign to both, right? Which is going to change this to minus. Minus and negative would make that a plus, okay? So 9x squared minus 9x squared is 0. 0x plus 6x is 6x. And then bring down my minus 4, okay? And then we've got to go back up to divide the leaders. Okay, so my new leader is 6x divided by 3x. X's cancel, and then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we have plus 2. And then we're going to multiply. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times a negative 2 would be a negative 4. We're going to subtract, so we're changing the sign of both of them. They both cancel, meaning we have a remainder of 0. We don't have any other terms to bring down, so this is your answer. That's it. I thought I'd hit record, but I hadn't. Okay, so we're dividing by 2x plus 4, so I went ahead and set it up for you. Okay. So we're doing the same steps. Step 1 was to divide your leaders, okay? So we're doing 6x squared divided by 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And if you have 2 x's and you take 1 away, you're left with just 1x, okay? So we have 3x. Then we're going to multiply. So 3x times 2x is a 6x squared. 3x times 4 is a 12x. And the next step is to subtract. So we're distributing that minus sign to both terms. We're changing both of their signs. 6x squared minus 6x squared is 0. And then 8x minus 12x is a negative 4x. Bring down your next term. And then we start back over. So we're dividing our leaders, right? So negative 4x divided by 2x. Your x's cancel, and negative 4 divided by 2 is a negative 2. So minus 2, okay? And then negative 2 times 2x gives us a negative 4x. Negative 2 times 4 is a negative 8. All right, and then we're going to subtract, so we're going to change the sign on both of them. Negative 4x plus 4x is 0. Negative 20 plus 8 is a negative 12. I don't have anything else to bring down, so I'm done. Which means this is my answer, but I have a remainder of negative 12, right? So, means we have 3x minus 2 with a remainder of negative 12. So what they like to do with that is they like to keep this as your answer. And since it's minus, I'll put minus 12 divided by what you're originally dividing by. Okay? So they just put their remainder, the part that wasn't able to divide evenly, over the part we were dividing it by. Okay, so 12, the remainder is still divided by the 2x plus 4. And this would be your answer, okay? So you may have some questions that say, what is the remainder? Your remainder is negative 12, or you could see it written as your remainder is negative 12 over what you were dividing by. Okay? Okay, our next example. If you notice, your x's go x to third power, x to second power, and then no x's. So we skipped an x again, right? So we want to put in a placeholder of 0x. So we're going to be 2x minus 8 divided into 6x cubed minus 20x squared plus 0x plus 24. Okay. And step 1 is to divide your leaders. Okay. So 6x to third power divided by 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And if you have 3 x's and you only can cancel out one of them, that leaves you an x squared. So we have a 3x squared. Okay. And we're going to distribute. We're going to multiply. Okay, so 3x squared times 2x is a 6x cubed. 3x squared times a negative 8 is a negative 24x squared. All right. And then we're going to subtract. So I'm going to change the sign of both. And I get a negative 6x squared. That was 0. Bring down our plus 0x. And then we're going to divide our new leaders. Okay, so negative 6x squared divided by 2x. Negative 6 divided by 2 is a negative 3. You have 2 x's and you cancel one out, then you're just left with 1. So minus a 3x. And we're going to distribute. So negative 3x times 2x is a negative 6x squared. Negative 3x times a negative 8 would give us a positive 24x. That's why we needed this column of x's as our placeholders. Okay. Then we're going to subtract. So we're going to change the sign on both, which leaves us with a negative 24x. Bring down our plus 24. And last time we're dividing our leaders. So negative 24x divided by 2x gives us x's cancel, so a negative 12. Okay. And last time we're distributing. Negative 12 times 2x is a negative 24x. And negative 12 times a negative 8 gives us a positive 96. And we're going to change the sign on both. Okay, so then we have 24 minus 96, which gives us a negative 72. We don't have anything else to bring down, so we are done. Which means we have this is our answer and this is our remainder. So we would say 3x squared minus 3x minus 12 minus 72 divided by 2x minus 8. And that's it. We're done learning new things. Okay, so if you get it and you're good, you can stop here. I'm going to do one more example where we put a 0 as a placeholder, just for those that need that extra example. All right, so we have 2x cubed plus 4x plus 5 divided by x plus 2. Notice we have x, the third power, then x, then no x's. So we skipped an x squared this time. Okay, so we need that 0 x squared as our placeholder. So we're going to do x plus 2 divided into 2x cubed plus 0x squared plus 4x plus 5. Okay, so we're going to divide our liters. 2x cubed divided by x. 2 divided by 1 is just 2. And if we have 3 x's and you cancel out 1, then you're left with x squared. So we have 2x squared. We're going to distribute both of those. So 2x squared times x is a 2x cubed. 2x squared times 2 is a 4x squared. And we're going to subtract, so we're changing the sign on both. And 0 minus 4 gives us a negative 4x squared. Bring down our positive 4x. And dividing our new liters. So negative 4x squared divided by x gives us a negative 4x. And distribute. So negative 4x times x is a negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times 2 is a negative 8x. And we're changing the sign on both. Okay, because we're distributing that minus sign, which changes the negatives to a positive. So these cancel, and then 4x plus 8x gives us 12x. Bring down our plus 5. And last time we're dividing our liters. I know it's last time because I just brought down my last term. So 12x divided by x leaves us with just 12. It's positive, so I put plus 12. 12 times x is a 12x. 12 times 2 is 24. And we're changing the sign. So 5 minus 24 leaves us a negative 19 as our remainder. Okay, so our answer would be 2x squared minus 4x plus 12, and then minus 19 divided by x plus 2.